Hello. So I have started Vor Game, which is the sequel to The Warrior's Apprentice. This is my second Bjord, Lewis McMaster Bjord book. This is my second book by her. So this is following Miles. I know that these books are the younger years of his life. And we just got through the academy in book 1. And now in book 2, he's supposed to be getting an assignment. And here at the beginning of the book, he gets his assignment. And it's really not what he expected or what we, the readers, would have expected either. So Miles has been sent to this frozen island to be a meteorologist, and the physical tax, the physical toll that this particular setting would take on him, he's just very surprised because of his physical disability. He doesn't why was he put here? And we, the readers too, are like, why was he put here? So getting there here at the beginning of the book, we've now followed him to this frozen island, and we followed him at the beginning of this, and it's not going well. To put it lightly, it has not gone well for him. So there's been some poor interactions with other people. There's been some investigating. A couple of enemies have been made. I love Miles. I adore this character, but he too clever for his own good sometimes is how I guess I'll put his character trait. He thinks around stuff a lot and can make some enemies. So here at the beginning of the book, the first chunk of the book, I'm listening to the audiobook, so I can't give you a page count or anything, but the first chunk of the book, he's been introduced to this new island, this new setting. He's gotten used to it. He's gotten to know people, but then when people start dying, he sticks his nose into it, and that's what causes the friction. That's what causes him to kind of make some enemies. So now at the point in the book that I'm at, he's been reassigned. So he just went through all of this in the first chunk of the book. That's been really interesting, by the way. I've loved the beginning of this book. He's now not gonna be here anymore. We're moving at locations again. So I don't really know what to expect from the rest of this book, because I had just settled in and felt like, okay, I know what we're doing. I know where we're, like, I feel like I just settled in, and now we're moving. Everything's changing all of a sudden. Anyway, it has been a really good start. It's been a really good beginning to the book. I just don't know what to tell you about it because everything's just changed. So I don't know where we're going from here. So that's my initial check-in. Those are my initial thoughts on Vor Game, and I will check in with you again and let you know how it goes. I finished the Vor Game. So I told you about the beginning of the book, and then he gets moved to a new location. So giving you the final thoughts on this sequel to a series that is technically book 6 if you're reading in chronological. Honestly, I have a really hard time navigating what order you're supposed to read Bjord, so I've basically just been letting other people tell me what to read next. So to give you my final thoughts on this book, I did end up really liking the change. I tend to like this kind of thing when a book will not follow your typical story structure. You know, A leads you to B, which takes you to C. When books kind of fracture that structure and it feels more like real life, it feels more like, okay, you get here, you get settled, this is what you think the book is, and then because of circumstances, you're forced to change. I tend to like that because I read a lot, so having something that's just doing something really different is exciting for me, but then also the way Bjord writes, she already writes characters really, really well. She makes them so relatable and feel so human, and her way of tackling just certain things that people go through makes you draw really near to what's going on. And so much like the Lies of Locke Lamora, I'm in it for the characters, and I want life to feel like it's just taking them, which is how this book felt. The unfortunate side of this is that I did like the first part better, probably like the first third-ish of the book. I would say was my preferred setting and things going on as opposed to the latter part. So I like that the structure was fractured, but I was kind of always looking back and thinking, I kind of wish we did stay there though. Miles is always a treat to follow. He is an underdog in this world and in this setting, and watching him be really innovative, watching him be really smart and clever and figure out how to navigate these situations, I really enjoy. Plus the kid's got a mouth on him and he just does not know when to stop talking, and I love following him for that as well. The plot, I would say, probably wasn't my favorite, just because there were a few things that I was kind of side-eyeing that I was looking at, and I was like, okay. That was convenient. That kind of worked out sort of perfectly, didn't it? So there were certain things that it felt like the plot moved because the plot moved, which is an exact contradiction to what I said. So let me try to explain that better. I like that the structure didn't follow the typical structure that you would expect, but the plot still, some things happened because they needed to happen. But this was a really fast-paced book. I never really got bored. I was always happy to be reading it. The books have a lot of action and intensity, and there's some intense themes that come up throughout the books. And I think that they're addressed well while still keeping the general tone of the book, and especially the way the book ended, very hopeful. Which is interesting because it's not usually what I go for, but I just really like the way Bjord does it. Anyway, overall final thoughts, very positive. I enjoyed Vor Game, and I'm open to reading more Bjord. She hasn't won me over completely yet, but I'm enjoying what I'm reading. So I asked my patrons what I should read next. One said the Boulders of Infinity, and then I got another answer. Patagonia was the other recommendation I got. So I'll look into both of those, probably pick up one of them next. Anyway, then I started Annihilation, and I just started it. I'm very early on, but I'm already obsessed with it. So this takes place somewhere where there's this abandoned town and an abandoned lighthouse, and then all of a sudden this tower or tunnel, we don't know, thing appears, and they send out these expeditions of people to explore it. And I don't know much about these previous expeditions. I don't know what's happened before this, but I know that the expedition that we're currently on, the character that we're following, who has yet to be named, there's 4 people that are specialists in some field. Anyway, so they are going into this tunnel tower thing to explore. So early on, right away, they go in, and it's weird. I don't know what's going on. There's writing on the wall, but it's like written through like fungi and maybe other plant life, but it's this abstract, very strange writing that they can't fully make sense of. And then one of the mushrooms actually opens up and spores hit her, which affects her in some kind of way, and I won't tell you what kind of way, but it affects her. And it's giving me Piranesi vibes. I put that in the chat, and one of the guys was like, you'll probably feel that less and less as you go on. But it's also giving some Lovecraftian vibes, so I'm just obsessed with it right now. I don't understand what's going on. I don't know what's happening, but the tension is strong, and I don't know. I love abandoned towns, abandoned cities, abandoned lighthouses, and then just the idea that this structure has just appeared, and we don't know why, so let's go figure it out, but weird things are happening. I love it so much. Like I said, I'm really early on. It's a very short book though. I'm so into it. I'm so into it. I'm so into it. I'm gonna race the sun to get you the final clip for Annihilation. Oh my goodness, do I love this book. So it was such a weird reading experience. It was creepy and unsettling and atmospheric. It got you, it was confusing as all get out, where you would get these slow revelations, these slow reveals, where it would like add more evidence, but you were still just like, what is going on? But what does it mean? And then, but then you have these scenes of such creepiness and discomfort that were described in these Lovecraftian ways, where it was like you don't really fully know what's going on, but the way the tension is described, oh, I've got my earbuds in, it makes you so uncomfortable. I loved it. I still don't really understand a lot of things, but I loved it. And I'm so excited that there's more books to read like it. I just finished it like a couple of minutes ago, and this is just my kind of reaction to it. But I loved it. It was weird and confusing and really up close and uncomfortable. And I loved it. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's so short and it's so strange and confusing at times that it's kind of hard to talk about spoiler free. So I feel like just giving you the setup information and then letting you know what kind of vibe it carries, which is creepy and weird, is the best I can give you. Maybe when I do my top books of the year video, because this is gonna be in it, maybe I'll also maybe I'll have put thoughts together better to be able to describe this book. But that's my reactionary description. I loved it. It was so strange, but also I was on the edge of my seat. Like, I could not stop. Yeah, I don't know. I loved it. That's the whole review. I think I'm on a sci-fi kick. No, I don't. I know I'm on a sci-fi kick. I have been just loving weird sci-fi lately, and I'd like to find some more. I already have a couple of sci-fis lined up for the new year, for the next, oh, well, okay, I'm gonna have my TBR video up in like a week or two, so you'll see, or no, I'll probably have my TBR video up on Tuesday, so you'll see some of the sci-fi that I have planned, but I'm gonna ride this sci-fi kick that I'm on because it's just been doing it for me. Now the question is, do I dive into book 2? Because I've heard it's really, really different from book 1, and I loved book 1 so much that I really just want more of book 1. Like, I want more of that. So for those of you who have read it, do I continue, or do I just let that one be the wonderfulness that it was and just let myself not have all the answers? What do I do? Because this book was like, I loved this book so much. I will say, if you don't like abstract, weird books where you don't get all the answers and where it will drag you along into the same confusion that your main character is currently existing in while they're exploring this unknown thing, and at the end you don't get everything answered. Like, if that doesn't sound fun to you, just don't even worry about this one. But if that sounds interesting, and if you like to be creeped out, I loved it so much. It is very short though, so even if you hate it, you won't have wasted a ton of time, because I really loved it. And this was like, I didn't know anything about it. One of my patrons picked it for me to read. Thank you, by the way. I loved it so much. That's the reading vlog. I'm sure this was a short one because I don't feel like I was able to say that much about Annihilation, but I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. I'll try to have my TBR video up on Tuesday so that, you know, if you like to keep up with what I'm planning on reading for the first quarter of the year and follow along with some of the books that look interesting to you, I'll try to have that up for you soon so you can plan if you're a planner. I post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday on this channel, Mondays and Fridays on the manga channel, which is always linked in the description. I'll see you again soon. Bye.